Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrew Graham, and actually I'm not from the UK. If you can already tell, I'm from the United States. So although sometimes I get a little bit of that mixture feedback from folks after I start talking, but I'm from the southern United States, so I have a little bit of a twang, and sometimes it does sound like a UK or British type of accent. I'm from SAP's Digital Business Services organization, and as mentioned, I'm a partner manager. And that means that I manage partners, mostly the global SI partners, global leaders, some certainly here in India, in the run space. When I talk about the run space, I mean operations. When I talk about operations, I mean the Operations Control Center. And I want to talk a little bit around how we've worked with TCS on the Operations Control Center topic. The Operations Control Center is our best practices from SAP, how every single SAP customer should be run. And I need to go to the next slide. I'm going to grab this right here. Go. Great. So here, very quickly, some of the topics that we'll go over very quickly today in the next 30 minutes about running better with an Operations Control Center, which sometimes I'll refer to as OCC. We'll bring TCS and Nishant the way on the stage too about telling you about solution manager capabilities at TCS, and also Birla Carbon and Ramesh will tell you about their experience with OCC at his company, working with TCS. First of all, I want to give you, an overview, a bird's eye view of the Control Center topic from SAP, of which the Operations Control Center is a very important part. Again, it is the best practices for running an SAP and your SAP solutions. But it's also a part of a concept of other control centers. So on the left, let's say the left side of the screen and the top right at the left of the screen is the Innovation Control Center. That is build SAP like a factory. So from a build and implementation perspective, it's the best practices and pieces for that. We've been focusing on the orange shaded area here, OCC, which is run SAP like a factory. It's based on a proactive model for system monitoring, business process monitoring, so that you see issues, potential issues, happening in your system before they ever become effective to the business users. It's an efficient, standardized approach, and TCS has made an investment in SAP to learn this topic and this concept together. The third piece of the overall control center topic is the Mission Control Center. The Mission Control Center is at SAP, and it's our back-end system from SAP for support. So you can reach back into the MCC to facilitate the support from the broader SAP organization. We have Mission Control Centers at some of the big cities around the world, and that follow the sun, round-the-clock support for all of our customers. But today's focus is on the run part and how we work together with TCS to provide capabilities, understanding around our concept and how it applies at customers. And it's important to know that it is by customer. What we do, our learning approach, is not a classroom setting. It's not in theory. So the first question we ask and work with TCS and all of our partners is, which customer? So which customer has requirements to implement and operate an OCC, which customers that TCS or any partner already has the responsibilities for that. Because as you see in the triangle here, the partner already has the responsibilities to be either the implementer and or the operator and or the rollout of anything that they implement. And we recognize that from SAP. Many of our partners already have a trusted relationship that's strong with you guys and other customers. And we want to respect that and teach our partners, enable our partners in the right way so they can facilitate our best practices from SAP. It's important to know that the customer is also part of this three-way collaboration. The customer is the decision maker and the driver for what we do. And they provide important inputs, I would say critical inputs, into how TCS and any partner works together with SAP. And of course, on the SAP side, we are let's say, positioned as the blueprinter, designer, QAer. And that's exactly how we work with TCS. So to provide TCS with this knowledge around how we can start with an operations control center, what are the people, what are the processes, what are the tools for the operations control center? Because it's not simply a tool-based exercise. And it's important that TCS and our other partners learn the governance model, the roles and the responsibilities, the event management process, the alert change management process, how that functions in a solution manager environment using the event management and event alert inbox functionality in Solution Manager. What our collaboration model facilitates is that an integration, if the customer happens to be Max Attention or Active Embedded. So we have resources from SAP positioned at those customers if they are in one of these categories that sit on top of enterprise support. We integrate with these folks and indeed have an approach to the customer together so that there's a one voice for both of our parties directly to the customer. And it's about fulfilling customer requirements. So we won't implement, for example, monitoring on some whatever. We hear from the customer what he wants, the critical business processes, for example, what needs to be set up from an event process and management process to get the customer value. That's what we focus on, and that becomes the scope of the way we work together. We enable TCS and our other partners through experts from SAP, so these folks necessarily come from our centers of expertise at SAP. And there's a continuous improvement process that I will just speak about maybe on the next slide for just a second. So the value drivers for you, the customer, is that it is this type of a model with the service provider, which is a partner of ours. We start together. So it's a shared understanding what the customer requirements are and how we work together in that. In that, there's also a potential cost savings to the customer. So from a standardized approach, a best practices approach, it's also the realization that the partner has this responsibility already with the customer. We're not going to change that. So the partner may have been there, the service provider may have been there for years and years. They're going to operate the system anyway. What we want to do is two things. Enable those folks to operate it the best that they can and have a positive customer outcome. That's very important. We go customer by customer, and what's very important for both parties, any of our partners and SAP, is that we have positive customer outcomes, and ideally, a referenceable customer. There's reduced risk because from this collaboration, we're able to bring expertise to the table from SAP to help resolve topics and issues that are directly related with that OCC implementation. And of course, helping ensure customer success both now and in the future. So now it's about operating your system correctly now, okay? But having the right set of operations now enables you to go to things like S/4HANA. So as we learned today, Solution Manager 7.2 and S/4HANA will be a journey for many of you here and many of our customers around the world. We want to facilitate that. The way to facilitate that is to get optimized operations today so that you don't have to worry about that or be overly concerned about how that works in the future. There's also, the last piece here I want to mention is that there's ongoing quality checks that enable a continuous improvement cycle, which is one of the key points from the Operations Control Center concept. So it's not just we check that things have been set up and are okay, it's that we get a continuous cycle. Every 6 months, we visit with TCS and the customer, for example, or any partner in the customer, and we say, how is the event management process running? How are the KPIs? What are the trend analysis in that? Have you gone to Solution Manager 7.2? What will be the roadmap for 7.2? So those kind of things are done on every 6-month touch basis. This is a part of our certification process from the Run side. And Nishant will talk a little bit about TCS's certification in this topic. But that's the one thing I want to lead you with is that working with partners that are on our Run space who become certified with us, provide these things and these capabilities. And TCS will talk about how they provided those capabilities at Birla Carbon and also Ramesh will be up here to talk exactly his positive experience at Birla. So with that, I'm going to invite Nishant Dawai to the stage. Nishant is owner and lead of the go-to-market topic at TCS for their SAP Center of Expertise. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Andy just gave us the view of the Operations Control Center and the concept. So I'm sure you have a good idea of the concept of Operations Control Center. There you go. So I just spent a short amount of time talking about our portfolio and where we are with SAP on our solution manager and the operations control center journey. But a quick view of our portfolio. Andy talked about the fact that when we have, this is almost a tripartite arrangement where you have SAP, you have TCS, and you have the customer. So if we are involved either as an implementation partner or as a support partner or as a project, as a rollout partner, we have inculcated this within all of our delivery organizations, that if you are if TCS is supporting a partner, is supporting a customer, you necessarily have to see that we are able to put in solution manager has to be used. We have to make sure that we have application AO, we have BPO, and the ultimate goal is to take the customer to OCC certification. So there is a very strong rigor which starts from kind of defining a roadmap service, if it is in the case of it being an AMS customer, and how would we take that customer to that level. So that is the first journey that you would start with, is you would do the roadmap. We talked about run SAP like a factory, build SAP like a factory. Ramesh is going to be talking to us about the whole journey, about which is theirs was an implementation journey. So how the whole build SAP like a factory journey went on with Birla Carbon. But for our other customers where we have been doing OCC, we start with the understanding of their technical landscape, making sure that we are able to impress upon them the advantages of doing AO, BPO, and OCC. So that journey is taken. The final aim is to get the customer OCC certified, and the customer therefore is able to get the benefits of OCC. Now, when we say OCC, what is the advantages of getting OCC certified? So one of the things is that you are now going to be getting at the best possible way of operating your systems as you can. Okay, your focus now is to manage by exceptions. You are going to be running your operations with guided procedures. So you are not trying to see a view where you have unexpected outages. You do not want to see, oh, you know what, my table space is getting full and customers are calling me now saying that my transactions are failing. Therefore, you try to go back and do something. I know that I want to set a target of 85%. I'm going to monitor it. The person who's sitting at OCC, he knows that if it goes at 85%, what needs to be done. There's a guided procedure which says do ABC. If it fails, you have to raise a ticket which will do XYZ. So it is a very elaborate and structured process. It allows you to be at the optimum level of the way you can operate in terms of your maintenance, which is what Andrew talked about. That is the recommended best practice of doing your run operations. The other points that we talked about is we also have been built a few dashboards which give us a view of the technical landscape and the business process KPIs. This helps specifically from a C-suite level, your CFOs or CIOs. They want to know what is it that, how does my business operate? So we have built these dashboards today. These dashboards were built on the 7.1 version. We had Matthias talking about it as dashboards are going to be coming in built in 7.2, but we have this available in the current version. And these were again built earlier on Android, on iOS, and now we have also available them. We have them available on UI5 and Fiori. So when we're talking about all of this, the focus is that, like I said, we want to make sure that our customers get OCC certified so that they are able to get the advantages of run SAP like a factory. They get certified. They are the best possible way of operations. So in this year, we have, in the past year, we have done 4 OCC AO certifications, which is the application operations certifications for our customers. TCS is the first silver certified partner for operations control center in AO. And across our landscape, we have covered more than 95 customers. And across these 95 customers, we have more than 240 Run SAP functionality implementations. So when we say it is AO or BPO or JSM, we've had more than 240 such functionality implementations across more than 90 customers in our landscape. And there is a lot of focus on training and enablement of our people to make sure that we are able to deliver that to our customers. So we have more than 1,000 people who are Run SAP certified by SAP. And the testament of all of this work that we are doing jointly with SAP is underscored by the fact that TCS has been the Run SAP partner on the Pinnacle Awards for the last 4 years running. And we are the only partner to have received 4 Pinnacle Awards in a row. So this is just a brief overview of our capabilities and where we come from. I understand that all of you come from the business side, and rather than me or Andrew speaking, you would be more comfortable to hear someone who is from the business talk about the journey. So I would like to invite Ramesh, who will come and talk about the Birla Carbon journey of how this started off with their implementation and how they got to the level of EO certification. So over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Nishant. Is it audible? Is it clear to everybody? Fine. Okay. Thank you. I'd very briefly share with you all the Birla Carbon's experience of using Solution Manager, the tools and processes, and how we had benefited from that. Okay. Before I begin, very briefly, who we are. Birla Carbon is a flagship business of Aditya Birla Group, which I am sure most of you would be already knowing it. It's a large diversified conglomerate, very well known in India and also globally. Birla Carbon is the largest manufacturer of carbon black additives, and our footprint is across 15 countries across the globe. We have 16 manufacturing plants, and our products can be broadly classified into two categories. The first one is the rubber blacks, what we call, which is mostly used in the tires and rubber goods. So all the large multinational tire companies are our customers to whom we supply. The second product line what we have is the specialty blacks. The applications include coatings, paints, and cartridges, etc. So this is briefly who we are. Back in 2013, we had set out on our SAP implementation program, and our goal was to have a single integrated comprehensive solution that will help us to optimize and standardize the processes across the globe. So wherever we are, with respect of the geography of Birla Carbon, we want our processes to be same, so that we could benchmark internally, we could benchmark with our competitors, and that will help us to improve our efficiency. That was the goal. And before that, we had multiple different ERP systems across the globe being used by different units. So our goal was to have a single instance of SAP covering the business functions of finance, manufacturing, and also procurement and logistics. So it's started with the pilot implementation in India, which went live in December 2013, followed by other regions of North America, Europe, Asia, and the last go live was in Brazil, April 16, where we had just completed about a couple of months back. So this was about, why we did SAP for our business, right? So when we had started this journey, it was clear that why we want to do SAP, we want to achieve the process efficiencies, we want to accrue those benefits, we want standardization part. So this was for all those functions of finance or procurement or logistics, whatever we talked. While we were working on that, it was also clear that we also need to have a similar standardization and also efficiency of the IT processes that will support this implementation, and also that will help us to sustain such a solution, especially a global instance like this, which will be used across. And as I told you, when we had started this project, some of our business units were already using SAP, and we also had multiple other varieties of ERP. So we already had an idea of what SAP can offer in terms of solution manager and the ALM capabilities. And so at this point, we had involved with our partners, TCS, that's to really set a approach or roadmap for us to adopt these practices. We didn't want this to be an afterthought after we had implemented SAP or in between, or so we were really very clear that we want to have an efficient IT processes also, and we involved with our partners, and we got a clear roadmap for implementing all these processes and the tools of solution manager. So it's not just the set of tools what we have in Solman, you all know, right? It's a list of processes and the best practices which are around that. So we had, in fact, implemented the solution manager even before we had formally kicked off our SAP rollout project, right? So we were very clear about what we want to do on this. It has helped us in all the phases of implementation, also currently the sustenance phase, which we are going through, business as usual maintenance. So from the project preparation to blueprint, realization, in all those phases, in multiple ways, like for example, during the rollout, how do I manage my global template? There was a clear mandate from our side when we were implementing this rollout program. We wanted to have a standard process, right? So I have a global template which has to be followed across the globe, all the locations, and we would be doing localization only to meet the statutory requirements of specific countries, right? Otherwise, we were not expecting any deviation in the processes or variances, right? That was a mandate which we had. And we know that we'll be having multiple teams coming in. For example, when we go to every region, we'll have a team in Europe that will help us roll out. We'll have a team in Brazil that will help us roll out. Apart from the core, the implementation team which will be going across the globe. So it was very important to have a clear understanding of the process and ensure that it's understood the same way. So the template management is the processes around that was used extensively to ensure our adherence to this process, right? I've just given here some of the measures to show how the breadth of our usage of the solution manager processes and the tools for the different phases, for the preparations of business blueprint or during the test management, or also on the current state where we are in the go live and support maintenance phase, right? And we had also recently done a review by SAP to ensure that there is a review and the continuous improvement cycle which we bring in. It's not that we have already reached a level of maturity where everything is all right, but we have to go through a journey of learning and improvement continuously. So that's also done along with SAP and our partner TCS. So with all this, what did we gain? What was the benefit which we got by adopting this approach, by using these tools from SAP Solution Manager? We got benefits across the different phases of the project in various processes. Template management, I already shared before, right? How this helped us to the different teams who will be coming into the project to have a same way of understanding the processes that will help us to maintain the sanctity of our global template. We don't have deviations, right? So, which was a big plus, right? And test management. This was a process to which we had given a great importance. Like we understand this will reflect on the quality of our final outcome, the deliverable what we have, the final system what we have. So the robustness of the test process and also the quality of test data, we had given a lot of importance during this rollout phase. And when we had set out on this program, there was a key measure for us that as we roll out across the globe for different regions, we had to ensure that we don't miss any customer deliveries. That was a very key measure for us to know that how well we have done this rollout, how well prepared we were, and how well have we done the training to the users to ensure that it is understood and used correctly, right? And in that piece, we know that this testing process is the critical one in that, to ensure that it's the breadth of testing is followed across. The reusable test case libraries of Solution Manager, which we have used in different phases of testing during the SIT or UAT phases, or during the different rollouts across the regions wherever we did. So that has really helped us achieve a lot of efficiency without having to redo those things. And I can say that we have met our target of not missing any customer deliveries in all our 5 regions rollout across 12 countries, which we are very proud of. Other area where we had got a lot of benefits also in the IT service management process, incident managements. Yeah, I mean, from the footprint what I have shown, you'd know that, okay, we have a customer base that extends from Korea to US, in between Asia, Europe, everything covered. But we also have a support team which is also distributed kind of. We don't have a team co-located in a building or in a city like that. Like we have a very lean setup, so we have a team which is geographically spread. So it was very important to have a clear processes around this service management to ensure that the user experience is managed correctly and we are able to respond to them on a timely manner as the incidents are created. So that's where the processes and the tools around the ITSM has helped us to achieve this. And change management, you know, right, once it's difficult to implement a global template across without much variance, and even more challenging is to ensure that that is still followed. So that's where the rigor around the change management which really has to come in which the processes and the tools of Solution Manager which we are extensively using to ensure the review, implementation, testing and acceptance and putting into productive use. During all these phases of testing, this is helping us to have a transparent picture of where we are, what we are implementing, what's changing, what are the approvals. It's so that it's not only to the IT folks and also the business users who are requesting these changes. It gives a very transparent picture to them, what's happening and what's changing. Another piece is about the technical monitoring part. We have a support team, of course, from TCS who are doing this basis support for us. So this really helps us to do the team, I mean, it saves the team a lot of time instead of doing routine monitoring work. We have predefined alerts defined in the system of important system parameters. So the team just only works based on exceptions. We don't have to have an army of people sitting and just monitoring the system to know that everything is all right or not. And we also set up alert inbox systems by which we also come to know immediately. I don't need to have somebody from TCS calling me and telling if there are any incidents or if there are any alerts. So we all come to know that, and we work with the team only on exception basis. We know otherwise where we are and how the system is performing. It's really, so the team is spending the time doing more productive work rather than spending time on regular monitoring and reporting tasks. And as Nishant and has shared before about Operations Control Center, this is about having that approach of how do we manage our applications, right? It's really moving from a people-centric way of doing things to a process-oriented approach. He shared about having the standard operating procedures, how the team will respond based on the incidents with help of standard operating procedures. So we know that the way we respond to the incidents will be same irrespective of who's sitting on the desk, irrespective of the day or the time of a day where it is. So I don't have to really work about that. It really removes the dependency on specific individuals, and we have around 25 or 26 key parameters which we have defined in our monitoring system, which gets monitored, and we get alerts based on exceptions, and the team is working to support us on this. So this is very briefly on what we have used, how we have benefited with this SAP Solution Manager ALM tools and the processes in our rollout and the current implementation phase. Hi. And if you have any queries, we could take one of us, Nishant or Andrew.
Yeah, and we're actually running just a little bit late on time, as you probably well know, because we had originally planned for like 5 minutes of Q&A. If you have a question, we'll be over here available. So if you have any questions around what we discussed in the last 25 minutes, please see us right over here, Nishant, myself, and Ramesh, and we'll answer any of your questions that you have. Thanks so much, Ramesh.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.